Here comes the nasty gram.
Send a priest to save my soul, forget it.
Welcome back to the Nasty Gram RPG podcast. This is Wings of Kani, episode 20, Master.
Feeling it too hard is the poison to the heart of a sick.
Fade up on a small room, illuminated blue by a wall of holovids. Some display images of the streets of Theed, others show corridors of the sewers below. A man stands, his back to us, as he watches a group of people and an astromech cross one screen and appear on another. The room darkens. The man stiffens and turns as footsteps approach. He bows his head deeply. Eighth Sister, the prisoners have escaped. Captain Koro appears to have had a change of heart. Are the containers secure, Sergeant? The man bends further. He stifles a groan of pain as he speaks. Yes, Eighth Sister. Your apprentice is seeing to it. You are fortunate my apprentice is here to do your job. Malik walks into the frame and paces slowly around the man, her hand clenched in a fist. In what of the air defenses? Have they all been informed on the mission? Most of them, Eighth Sister. Some have lost heart, and some speak of another faction, an admiral from the Virak system. They're afraid. Rorvat. The word slithers through clenched teeth. Malik's hand relaxes, and the man stands. Rally the pilots loyal to us. Disrupt this treachery and secure the containers. Do not fail me again.
For millennia, the Tekani lived in peace, in communion with their homeworld of Kani. The galactic civil war forced the Tekani to leave their home. Together with the Kida and the 11 synthetic Venko, the denizens of Kani and their fleet gather unlikely allies in their search for a new home.
Welcome back to the Nasty Gram RPG podcast. My name is Devin, and it'll be just like Beggar's Canyon back home.
Hey everyone, Dan here playing Xeta all by myself.
Hey folks, this is John. I'll be playing S3RV0, the Astromech, and that's it.
That's it? Anything else?
Nope.
Okay.
And this is Jake, and I'll be playing San Tavar. Quicker, easier, more seductive.
And this is Wings of Kani, the Lost Episodes. We see, I'm going to do math. We see 5 N1 starfighters, in Queen Sasha Saruna's own words, relics from the Clone Wars. They're scrap, but they'll still fly. We see them rise up into the air. We see other ships, more modern craft, not as elegant, but they seem to be flying in formation as they leave the surface, but quickly branch off, become disjointed, scattered. Radio chatter is stifled. There's a lot of static. There's interference, and the failing comm arrays of Theed make it difficult to communicate with others in the air. We pan, and we see several small transport vessels towing huge shipping containers lashed on by tow cables as they slowly begin to rise into the air. We see a TIE advanced prototype, sleek, beautiful, elegant vessel, one that we saw in an intro of an earlier episode. It's that orb, and then the wings are...
Oh, are they the triangular ones?
Yeah, they're much shorter.
Yeah.
They have a much lower profile, and they are very fast. And we see it beginning to guide a path for these transport vessels up into the air. We zoom into the cockpit, and we see San in his black armor. We look into the cockpits of the other ships, anime style, as they come in and triangles around the screen as all of the pilots are communicating. 12 Imperial fighters, a strike squadron, has jumped into the upper atmosphere and are beginning their descent towards Naboo.
You hear S3 in the back.
I will attempt to contact Caldo now. He kind of begins reaching out to the ship, reaching into its communications. Caldo of the Wandering Star, do you copy?
You got Caldo.
We are currently en route, possibly with pursuit.
Roger. Getting up in the air now.
Retain proximity to the Oracle. We may need firepower support.
Roger. You start turning towards the lake. On your radar, you see those aerial defense craft, and a couple of them break off of their formation, and they start making their way towards you on an intercept course.
Please maintain any logistics as to do with starfighting. I am unfamiliar with the practice.
S3 will start to instruct the targeting computer to target the closest incoming fighter.
Okay. Give me a Kani.
Okay. That's a 5.
Okay, mark experience. It appears it's not an interceptor. It appears your radars are being jammed. Your targeting functions are being jammed.
Understood. I will begin the process of trying to counter.
You plug away. All the while, you see bolts of ion cannons pass by you. They shake your shields a little bit, a couple of glancing blows. And there are about 4 or 5 vessels, craft fighters that are moving towards you.
Approaching ships, please identify yourself.
They don't. But San, you see there are those aerial defense craft, those modern craft that are following a group of N1 starfighters making their way towards the lake.
San calms the 12 Imperial fighters that just entered.
Yep, you're on the same
Frequency?
Good word, Dan.
This is the 12th brother. Be aware, their slicer is formidable. He will control your ship if he gains wireless access. Refrain from all communication other than light signals. 8 of you, break off, escort the ships. The other 4 with me.
Give me a suave. +1.
They just know you have that Inquisitor armor on just because of the voice.
It's coming from the sister's ship.
I'm going to use a luck point.
Okay.
I had a mixed, but I'm going to use a luck.
Roger, formation confirmed. Silver team on me. Gold, you're with the brother.
They're not black and red team? Come on.
The disjointed formation of the Theed aerial defense is now a little bit more organized as they fall in around the advanced tie. And you guys can make your way to the lake.
Yeah, we break and just probably go as fast as we can, tracking towards the lake. S3, are they in pursuit?
Are they?
Those 12 craft are still inbound.
Understood. The 12 craft, Devin, actually I'll ask. S3, can you plot the trajectory of the inbound craft?
They're coming right to Theed. As you're scanning, you read an energy fluctuation, and you see a bright flash in the sky. Now, it's daytime, but this flash is as bright as the sun. And then as your vision refocuses, you see this white beam that stretches from the origin of that light down to the ground. It's maybe 10 kilometers outside the lake. And this beam just starts tracking across the land. And from behind it, you just see fire erupt.
Threat detected. Confirm source.
S3 starts to attempt to put the scanners in that direction.
Assess.
Been rolling good and bad today. And that was a bad one. I'll spend a luck for that one.
Okay. It's a satellite. It's interconnected with other satellites. You look off, you sort of turn S3, you spin your little head, and you see behind you another beam, and it lands right in the center of Theed. It starts tracking along that just the lengthwise of the city, and you just see smoke and fire start erupting from the city.
Command and Conquer ion beam.
Yep.
Devin doesn't know what that is, though.
Is that like Age of Empires?
Even older.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Agreed. The destruction is unwarranted. Bring me to the satellites.
S3 will plot a course to the nearest satellite.
Okay, it's up. You're going to go past the lake, and it'll take you up into the upper atmosphere.
Caldo, please be advised, we are approaching the satellites.
You see down at the lake, there's this, all of those blue orbs that surround the lake. There's this energy, this connection that forms between them, and a blue orb starts rising to encase the entire lake. But it's
They got their goo
incomplete.
back.
Yep. You make a course for that satellite, and you catch on the radar a couple of those strike craft from that squadron are breaking off to intercept.
What's the captain's name again? Captain
Koro.
Captain Koro, please provide cover as we attempt to destroy the satellites.
Roger. And you see Koro and Saruna in their ships. They break off to go and intercept. You can see they're already taking long-range shots at those fighters. San, you see the destruction. Are you staying in formation with the aerial defense? The aerial defense is now rising. Some of them are breaking off. They seem to be trying to avoid the destruction of these orbital lasers.
Do I see the Naboo fighters heading towards the satellite?
You do.
I say plot an intercept course. Those fighters are going after Project Source. Stop them.
Yes, sir.
And I break off with Gold Squad
Sure.
and head that direction.
Okay.
What about that other group of Imperial ships? What do they seem to be doing?
Which Imperial ships?
The 12?
Yeah.
They're coming towards Theed. They seem to be going towards the transport vessels.
Oh, okay. Can I try to calm them?
Sure.
Okay. I open a comm to them. I don't know if they answer.
What do you say?
I say, this is 12th brother. Please identify yourself. State your intention.
12th brother, this is Sword Squadron. We're here to retrieve the package.
They jumped in,
They jumped in.
so they're not regular TIE fighters.
There seem to be part of a, this is a heavy strike squadron unit. They may have taken a larger craft and jettisoned from it and then jumped a shorter distance to Naboo.
Okay. Please transmit security clearance.
Roll apply leverage.
I got an 8. I have trained diplomat, which lets me turn mixed into full.
Okay. They transmit legit security credentials.
It's an old one, but it'll work.
No, these are new.
Very well. This checks out. Please provide flight data and proceed.
Affirmative. The those lasers seem to be, they'll start, at one place and then track away. They seem to be very careful about avoiding the transport vessels. These are is a very precise weapon, even for the amount of destruction that it's causing. You see wildfires are starting to erupt around the city. The forces in the air, not all of them are falling into formation. There seems to be some disorganization, you could call it, or perhaps the fact that not everyone is on the imperial payroll. So it's only sowing more confusion.
I say, Saber, maintain your escort. I'll make sure you have a safe getaway.
You'd have to get closer. You can't see them from here.
Okay.
Stupid nasty gram.
Get this away.
There's chaos above Theed. We see the N1 starfighters rising towards this satellite. We see TIE fighters, heavy TIE fighters are, a small group of them are breaking off and pursuing these N1 starfighters. Another group, the larger group, is making its way towards on an intercept course with the transport vessels. And again, these lasers are just sowing destruction on the surface of Naboo. We see they look like these slugs, but they explode in the air like flak coming from the surface of the lake, trying to fend off these Imperial fighters. We even see some of the aircraft, the defense, air defense of Theed, turning and firing on the Imperial craft, rising up in the atmosphere. But they look like they stand no chance against the advanced technology of this Imperial strike squadron. You're making your way up towards that satellite. The sky is beginning to darken, and you can see there's it looks like this big satellite array. There are all these arms that stick off it with different modules on it.
S3 kind of whirls around as we're getting close. It says,
Open the cockpit when we are close.
Up here, where the atmosphere is thin, it just looks like a small laser, just like this thin laser that once it hits the atmosphere, it expands and it's like there's this combustion that takes place. But up here, you just see this floating satellite, and you see ion cannon bolts that are just passing from behind you as the Imperial intercept craft are making their way towards you. They're close now.
S3, please provide a decoy. And as the cockpit opens and it's quiet once again, I think Xeta has this moment of relief. Sound, he doesn't realize how much it wears on him, how much it kind of bombards him. He is a creature of the void, and the silence is calming to him. It's home. And he kind of coils his legs in the seat and propels himself, kind of leaps out of the cockpit as S3 flies by the satellite and just shoots himself in one motion towards it.
This seems a feat of strength.
Mm-hmm.
Give me rugged.
All right.
hey.
I rolled an 11, so I got a 10.
Okay. You use the momentum of the ship. You push yourself out, and you're just drifting now, unburdened by gravity, undisturbed by sound, and you're just floating through space. What are the rest of you doing?
You hand that to him. S3 message down to Caldo, and the cockpit door canopy closes back on the N1 as it continues to zoom past the satellite.
You see one of these craft pull bank hard to the side, and you see this very fast ship pull up behind them, blue ion bursts firing behind it. You see the wandering star. The N1 starfighters do this loop around this satellite, and you turn, and Saruna and Koro start engaging these fighters coming from behind you. San.
We are engaging the N1s.
Okay.
I Does the ship have missiles?
It's got all the bells and whistles.
It does. It does have a projectile launcher.
Okay. San is trying to get... Do I know... I probably don't know that he's jettisoned himself out of the cockpit. Right?
Trust your feelings.
Yeah, trust your feelings.
I'm going to roll deep.
Yeah, roll deep.
Oh.
Oh, no.
Okay. A 9.
You feel this desperation, but also a calm that you've only felt, especially in the heat of combat, from the cool mind of Xeta.
Maybe urgency.
Sure, okay. Let's go fuck myself.
I arm the concussion missile launchers.
Sure.
And I'm trying to get a lock on Zeta's N1 fighter.
Okay.
And then I push some buttons. Beep, boop, boop, beep, beep, bop. Beep, 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 beep.
Okay.
And I launch a guided missile at it.
Okay.
See the little picture of the N1 go around on the red screen.
I close my eyes.
A little Venko shaped icon.
And I reach out to Zeta and I say, trust your feelings. Do you want me to roll use force?
Yeah.
All right. I hope I fail it.
Nope. Never.
9.
Comes through in zeros and ones.
Yeah. Zeta, you see this as you're tumbling through space. You spin your body and you see the flashes of light, no sound. These ships just dancing, and this small light. See one of these advanced TIE fighters just sort of pull off and join the fray. But you see this small little mote of light that's just very steadily, calmly coming towards you.
I glance towards the satellite and then glance back at it, knowing how much time I have before I make contact, and then just turn my body and kind of remain there static, moving through space, regarding it as it approaches.
It seems like a long time. It's only moments, but it will be here shortly. Trust your feelings.
I think much in the way that Zeta reaches out to a machine, he'll do the same. And he will try to communicate with it.
Okay.
To understand how it's moving.
Weird, but okay.
Mm-hmm.
The missile knows where it is because it knows where it isn't.
Mixed success.
Normally, you've done this before when you were diving down to Otogunga, and you know that usually the missiles their guidance system is tied directly to the craft that they were fired from. Now, it was easy for you to do when you were in the Wandering Star because you're within the Wandering Star using its technology, reaching out to that missile. This missile was fired from a foreign craft, but you're able to connect with it, and you get its telemetry. Is that the word?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You get its telemetry, and you know exactly how long it'll take to get here, and you know exactly how fast it's going, where it's going to hit.
Is it targeting the ship?
It's targeting you.
I give it a new target.
Okay.
Of the available ships that are out and kind of tumbling through space, I've only seen the N1 I came up on, or the 3 N1s that came up, and then what are the additional ships?
There are four TIE fighters plus one prototype advanced.
I target one of the TIE fighters.
Okay.
And then kind of close my eyes, command the signal to be sent to it, and then turn my back on it and look back towards the satellite, refocusing my attention.
You turn back towards the satellite, and you still have the connection to that missile, and it's getting closer and closer. You feel it slightly turning, but for a moment you feel like it might be too late, and it just passes over your head. You look up as a TIE fighter banks, and then this missile just collides with it and blows it out of the sky. No sound. Roll me an act under pressure.
Sure. What's that?
Cool.
8.
Take 1 vitality
Sure.
as you slam into the satellite, but you grab on.
I do have 1 armor now.
Okay. What would have normally chipped in perhaps a lesser Venko, broken them in half. You swing. You use that. Your abilities in space, your ability to control your body, and you do this gymnastic-like move. You grab onto one of these scaffolding-like arms and swing around, and you're attached to it.
He kind of clamps on the collision unexpected from what he had kind of initially planned as sort of a perfect course towards the satellite. He latches on, and then one hand and then the other, and then begins kind of spider climbing along the scaffolding towards the heart of the satellite.
S3.
Yep.
Where are you taking the ship?
S3 is going to, now that he knows that Caldo will pick up Xeta, he's going to dive into the atmosphere, head towards the Oracle.
Okay. You start to dive
over on its belly, and then pulls hard down more than any G's that any human could take.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah, you see this reckless move, this dive straight down into the atmosphere. There are only 2, 3. How many other starfighters?
There's 3 N1s. 3
N1 starfighters. 2 of them seem to be holding their own against these TIE fighters. These 3 TIE fighters. One of the N1 starfighters is being singled out and harried. Seems it's taken a couple of hits. You see those black streaks on the yellow.
You see S3 as he dives, making the decision to go to the Oracle. His top plate turns as he sees this N1 get harried, and he pulls out of the dive before hitting atmosphere, and will head towards that N1 to try to relieve, take some shots at the TIE fighter.
Okay. Going blazing.
Yeah.
How rugged is a droid?
0. That's a 3.
Okay. That ship, you are unable to shake its tail, and you see one of those engines is hit, and it's failing, and you see that N1 starfighter is wobbling in space as that TIE fighter, its assailant, swings around again. Another TIE fighter loops in, and they go to do a big turn to come around behind it.
S3 is going to try to basically blast past in front of them to get their attention, to try to hope that they'll follow him.
Okay. Do stand in defense.
Yep.
Roll cool.
Okay.
Sort of act under pressure plus stand in defense.
That doesn't do it, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to overload. I'm a droid, so I can do that.
Okay, cool move.
I'm going to take 2 harm and reroll.
New moves in episode 20.
New character.
New character.
New character.
New character sheet.
Yeah. So I can overload, so I can take 2 harm, armor piercing to reroll.
Okay.
So I took 2 harm.
There you go.
And I got a 9.
Okay. You draw fire when you do this. You rise up. You take what would have been mortal blows to this ship, and you take them on the bottom side of your craft, hull damage, and you rise up in that N1 that Dosh was piloting, activates those sublight engines and dashes away. Seems to follow that path that you were going to take back down into the atmosphere. And now, but you see, it's you, Saruna, and Koro now engaged with those three TIE fighters.
Yep.
San, you're just on the outside of this fray. You fired off that missile, you pulled away, and you see this you see this battle. I was going to call it a melee, but it's not. You see this dance in front of you, and you get a comm.
I answer it.
It is it's just a broadcast from one of these ships. This is Sword. Glaive and Halberd are inbound. And you see on your radar more ships jump into the system. 2 more squadrons jump into the space, as well as something bigger. Just right in front of you, jumping into space, is a Gladiator-class Star Destroyer.
Ruh-roh.
Fuck.
Saruna and Koro turn and start diving back down to the surface. Zeta, you are attached to this satellite. This thin line still drawing a path to the surface of the planet. And you turn and you look up. It's totally silent as you see 25 more ships, 24 fighter craft, and a Star Destroyer. You look down at the planet, and that green is being disrupted by these lines of white and red.
Zeta glances at it, continues climbing, and as soon as he hits the core or the body of the satellite, he places both hands on it and begins searching for its targeting computer.
Give me a black hat. You're definitely not allowed to be in this system. Much less on top of it.
13.
You're in.
Ooh.
You are in.
Mhm.
We're in.
This technology, it's identical to the technology that you use, that you used on Dory 6, that you suspect that the Xeta used on Kani. It's mining technology, but it's been fitted with this beam emitter disc.
Please plot new target. Gladiator-class Star Destroyer.
And you feel just the entire satellite, just that beam goes dark and almost retracts, and it starts to turn in space, oh so silently.
Zeta has the universe's biggest lightsaber.
She really does.
I see your Schwartz is as big as mine.
So the N1 starfighters are diving down.
Devin, may I?
Yes.
The TIE Advanced loops around and buzzes right over Zeta's N1, right over the top of the cockpit, and then fires a few shots at the other N1s as I pursue them into the atmosphere.
Are you trying to hit them?
I don't know. Am I?
Do you want to roll dice?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to hit them,
Okay.
but I'm trying to make it look like I'm trying to hit them.
Okay. Give me cool.
Okay. That's a fail. I accidentally blow them up. And that's 6 XP.
Okay. It looks good because you hit them. You see, again, those black streaks. You see the ship shake. These N1 starfighters do have shields, but it seems like you knocked out the shields of one of these ships as it descends.
S3 will saddle behind the TIE Advance and take shots at it.
Okay. Would you also like to roll dice?
Yes.
You don't try.
I don't know who he is.
Shoot it. It needs to go.
It's an enemy.
I know what move I want to take.
Okay.
Jedi pilot.
Okay.
Here we go.
That is a real move right there.
That's a real move.
What am I rolling? Rugged for Blaze?
Yeah.
12.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sending you an Instagram.
He turns off your targeting computer.
Your targeting computer is off. What's wrong?
Okay. That ship, that TIE Advanced, doesn't have much in the way of shields. It's a scout craft. There is some damage to it already. if you want to get into Malik's exploits before she got here, we'll do a bonus episode. But you feel one of your thrusters go down. You see this TIE advanced fighter start spinning as it starts to descend. Brother, do you want us to descend to the surface, follow the N1s?
Do you?
Negative. Break off. Regroup with the fleet. I'm losing control.
Yes, sir.
I've got an engine out.
They break off. You enter back into the atmosphere. Does Caldo make it to the satellite?
Hey, I did tell him to pick him up.
Mm-hmm.
Caldo hasn't used any luck.
Yeah.
He has not used any luck. Xeta, you see a shape just drifting by, and you see these puffs of compressed air just being pushed as you see the wandering star. Just
No power.
A trick we learned in the asteroid field on Midori 6.
Zeta understands immediately. He leaves the targeting computer locked on the Star Destroyer and lets go of the satellite and pushes off into space.
No roll. It's called Those Your Boy. That hatch opens up. You grab onto the outside of the ship and you climb in. Now you feel the lights come on. You hear the and almost immediately you feel the ship rocked by blaster fire. Zeta, I could use you up here.
Understood. Approaching. He works his way down through like the hall of the ship and then jumps into the cockpit next to Caldo.
Get on the gunth. I'm going to bring it down. Keep the shield up. Rear if you can. And just, he's sending it down towards the surface. The rest of you in your N1 starfighters, you breach into the atmosphere and you see down below you that orb, this big orb around the lake. The front end of the oracle is sticking out of it as the orb closes around it. And it gets bigger and bigger as you come close. There are more air defense forces that start firing on you. You hear Queen Saruna on the comms start trying to call them off. Again, just more confusion as these scattered, unaware pilots, these defense pilots, are still trying to get their bearings.
Devin, as the TIE Advance comes through the atmosphere, sort of spinning, half out of control, I close the visor on my helmet and I open the top of the cockpit, and then I just close my eyes and concentrate and try to feel for that next shot and eject right as it hits.
S3.
Yep.
You see this TIE Advanced spinning. You know that it's still operational. It seems like it's the automatic stabilizers on it are trying to engage, and it's dead ahead in front of you.
S3 takes its time, lines up the shot.
Roll it. +1, sitting duck.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'll do it.
13.
Got to put a little mark on S3.
You see something leave the ship, and it's quickly followed by a burst of fire, blue ionization, as the ship breaks apart and tumbles into the wilderness outside of Theed. San.
Do you want me to roll something for that?
What?
A deep, probably.
You're free
Best
fall.
feelings?
You're free falling now. What do you do?
Fucking fall, I guess.
Well, he ejected, so I'm sure there's some sort of
You did eject.
Yeah.
pod or whatever.
Parachute?
Oh yeah. Do you have a parachute?
I don't know. What do you think? Probably
I don't know
some
how
sort
TIE
of
fighters do.
repulsor lift chair. I assume like
Yeah, probably.
thruster chair. Probably.
It probably like blast rockets right before you hit.
The chair stabilizes in the air, and you just start falling like I don't know, back first.
Okay. I think I just hold on. Probably.
Okay. You feel those repulsors as you feel that push upwards as your descent is slowed. Give me a fortune roll.
The notable thing about TIE Advance is they actually have parachutes.
6 for that fortune roll.
Okay.
It's right in the middle.
Apparently,
On the lower end.
TIE fighters did carry ejection seats.
Really?
Yeah.
How nice of them. If you don't explode into a ball of fire.
With no shields.
Like, sir, we got room for an ejection seat or a shield.
That's all you get.
You turn and look behind you as you're falling, and you see the city of Theed just rising up. It's smoke and rubble. You look to the side of you, and you see that orbital laser is tracking. It tracks out of the city and then disappears. And you fall. The rest of you make your way to the lake, and that orb, there's like a ring. So is this
Like
orb
a bubble?
yeah, it's this bubble, but there's this like porthole. So imagine as the this thing could be on the ground. As the bubble grew, it lifted up that port so that it's suspended up in the air, and it begins to open as your ships approach. My friends, welcome to New Otoganga. As you
Dive through.
Yep.
Do all 3 N1s make it?
Give me an act under pressure. Not you.
Me?
You.
7. Someone's gonna die.
There's the easy one, right? It's Captain Koro.
Yeah, it's easy.
But I want to let the dice decide.
Oh, boy.
Dan,
Yeah.
roll me a d6. John, roll me a d6. We're going to add them together.
Wait, well, first we need to know what the determining result
Yeah.
is.
On a
High is Queen, low is Dosh.
low is Dosh. Oh yeah, we have Dosh. Low is the queen. Medium. No.
Whoever's low has the highest chance of survival, right? Because you can't get a 1.
So
I guess.
I guess. Well, there's a bad option. It's queen. The queen. You don't want the queen of Naboo to die.
Why not?
We're going to take over.
That's true. The planet's going to be destroyed anyways. I got it. Okay, just roll. Each roll 1.
Tree.
1.
4.
Yikes.
Whoopsies.
Hold 1. Pick one person who makes it through.
I don't know the captain, so
Dosh probably.
Think Dosh makes it through.
Or the Queen.
I think the queen.
Queen. All right.
Kita dying left and right.
Yeah, true.
Dosh's ship was already compromised. He was slow. S3, you pass him as you approach that orb. In those ships, that strike squadron is fast, and they descend on you. You see 2 N1 starfighters just burst into flames, and they crash against that blue orb and fall to rubble on the ground. As you pass through that orb, that port closes, and those flak cannons ward off the strike squadron as they scatter and begin to rise again. You see now these transport vessels hauling these, shipping these crates tethered by tow cables are now rising through the atmosphere. A couple of these strike craft begin to fall in and escort them as other craft are shooting down the disjointed and disorganized Naboo aerial defense. But you make it in and you land on the lakes or the shore of the lake.
Xeta disembarks from the Wandering Star. Looks for S3.
You see S3 being lowered through the belly of an N1.
You see Queen Saruna step out of hers. She looks up to the sky.
The satellite is targeting the Star Destroyer in the atmosphere above.
San, you stand up and you look around you, and it's just destruction. There are people running. There's buildings collapsing. There's chaos all around you. You get to cover behind a building as you see another one of those lasers draw a line, a distant part of the city, and just cut another piece out of it. Fire and smoke erupt. More screams.
San is looking for some sort of repulsor lift like vehicle, speeder bike or something like that.
Swoop.
You see one. There's a building that is collapsed, and just outside the rubble, there's one of these speeder bikes that's toppled on its side, but it looks operational.
I flip it over and try to get it started.
Okay, give me Kani.
10.
Fires right up.
And I get on it and I take off and leave the city and head towards the Gungan shield.
Okay. We zoom out. We see, from a distance, we see Naboo. We see a Star Destroyer hanging in orbit. We see just a swarm of starfighters patrolling around it. We see groups of them breaking off and heading down into the atmosphere. We zoom back in where we zoomed out before. You all disembark your starfighters, and there's a gathering on the shores of the lake. You see Gungans dressed like General Gallo, military officials. You see Boss Leone is talking with them as they look up towards the sky. See those blue bolts are still being shot up in the air, warding anyone who would come to try to attack the orb. They seem to be in an excited discussion about what to do.
The Queen is walking with us.
Yes, the Wandering Star is the last to arrive.
Okay.
Into the orb, and Xeta and
Caldo.
what the fuck is his name?
Caldo.
Xeta and Caldo disembark.
As Xeta comes off, he sees S3.
Yeah, S3 bolts over to you.
I was able to change the targeting system on the satellite. The Star Destroyer will be next.
S3's little canned head turns towards the Gungans talking.
We will advise. Come. Xeta starts loping towards them. Shoulders kind of hunched now in gravity again. But he approaches the council.
They seem to be discussing what to do. Do we dive? Do we leave the surface? They find us. We fight.
It is likely they will make a tactical retreat.
They all turn and look at you.
The Star Destroyer will be targeted by the satellite. Its destruction is likely.
You be sure of that?
I am.
What we do about the fighter?
Without the Star Destroyer and without a base, it is unlikely they will continue their attack.
There's again, they erupt into dissenting opinions on what to do.
Xeta seems like he's finished his business and begins tracking towards the Oracle, wanting to report to the aspect.
Okay. The aspect is atop the hull of the ship, just inside the orb, looking out.
As Xeta is walking across kind of the yard of this kind of encapsulated space, he clicks on his comm. San, are you there?
Does he reach me?
Yep.
Okay. You definitely hear like the hum of a swoop and the wind rushing by.
I got you.
I'm en route.
Understood. We are approaching the aspect.
You stand below the Titanic ship. Not the actual Titanic. Kind of. And the aspect looks down at you and begins walking. And then as it walks off the edge of the ship, it just starts to slowly descend through the air. It lands on the ground.
Aspect. Please be advised. Other Tekani in Genesis pods are currently being transported to orbit.
Other Tekani.
I do not know the details of their nature, but they were in Genesis pods being transported.
The aspect looks up into the air.
I have led my people to destruction.
Explain.
It was under my guidance that we came here.
There are outside forces. Do you know where these Tekani come from?
I have not seen these Tekani. The only ones I know of are those under my care. But if they are Tekani, I must be responsible for them. We must reclaim them.
I have targeted their Star Destroyer with the assault satellite. It is likely they will not have an option to jump.
Do it. Now.
Understood. Xeta closes his eyes. He kind of reaches through the frequencies that are available to him and agrees to a firing solution.
Okay. Give me Kani.
Sure.
No. Give me deep.
Okay.
It's outside of the atmosphere. This is probably one of the longest remote controls that you have done.
12.
Whoa.
Hey, yo.
Excuse me. You said deep. 10.
It's the same, Dan.
It's the same. But not as
Not as
grand.
whoa.
Not as grand.
like,
Not as cool. I'm gonna make this description less cool if that's okay.
Yeah. And it takes like 3 seconds longer.
We zoom back out to that satellite. We see it again. Turn, 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 until it's in the foreground. The Star Destroyer in the background. Ships in between. Imperial fighters, transport craft. And then we pull back even more. We pan, so we get this panoramic view. The planet, the Star Destroyer, even that satellite in the background. And we see something in the foreground. Jump in. Sleek, gray, long. We cut to the bridge of the guillotine. We hear, Ensign, give me a G-well, starboard side of the Attilius, just off the bow. Yes, sir. G-well away. And we just hear this noise. And that Star Destroyer just rolls. Its front end just sort of yaws starboard and exposes its top side to the guillotine. In a precise and practiced maneuver, we see turbo lasers just draw a line from bow to stern.
Gravity wells are so insane.
From the top, from behind the ship now, behind the Star Destroyer, we see that white line, this narrow white line, just disappear into the, behind the Star Destroyer. And then as it traces, even though we're in space, a line of fire explosions from the bottom side of it as these turbo lasers just cut this thing along the top. The Star Destroyer just starts to split in half ships, its escort, these 2-3 strike squadrons of Imperial ships just start diving to get away from the destruction. The guillotine goes dark as all of its power has been expended. We're back in the bridge, and it's just lights out, just a band of stars and space and explosions out in front. The rest of you down on the surface, San, you see it. Xeta, S3, all of the Gungans look up as just fire starts raining down as the Star Destroyer begins to crash through the atmosphere. Ships, like small motes of rock, just rocket towards the surface, towards Theed. Let's find out what happens next time.
Good gracious. I had actually forgotten about the guillotine in the message we sent. That's all.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Wings of Kani. Intro and outro music by Galactic Empire. Check them out at Galactic Empire Official on social media. Our Nasty Graham theme music by A Wilhelm Scream. Dramatic voiceover by Liv. Check her out at Musings of a Polyhedron on Substack. Check us out on nastygrahampod.com. You can get full bios of all the cast. You can get all the links to our social media, links to the feed with all of our back content. So head on over, check out the Nastygram Lounge on Facebook, and chat with us, and tell us your favorite Force powers.
That's nasty.
Flashback. Rij at his workshop on the Wandering Star on one of his hyperspace journeys with Caldo. S3 is there, sitting by him. On the desk, there is a crystalline cylinder made out of crystal that is normally found on Kani that they've used to craft into lenses or other items. Part of the reason why they were so adept at creating the Venko in the first place. And beside it, a blue kyber crystal. I don't know. It creates light. Yeah, S3. Maybe I can make a lamp out of it or something. Rij grabs the crystal and forms it into the crystalline cylinder. It emanates this eerie blue glow around the workshop. Yeah, it was found in an Imperial officer during some of the fighting in New Toros. Don't really know what it does, but he shrugs, kind of sets the light aside, and says to S3, I guess that's all it's good for. Kind of weird. And we cut to the current day. And Xeta walk into the workshop. And on the workshop is a sleek crystalline cylinder sitting on the bench with some tools kind of scattered to the side.
Xeta picks it up with both hands, holding it between his hands, turning it over slowly.
You feel that you can command this to turn on.
He takes it and kind of grasps it around the middle and thinks of the command for power.
A blue plasma beam emits from this cylindrical object, spitting sparks and blue plasma off of it. Not nearly as concentrated as the lightsaber that San holds, but something similar.
He regards it for a moment, commands it to turn off. He thinks now. He's standing in Rij's workshop, looking at where Rij once was, turns, looks across the hallway at the Genesis chamber where Dio gave his life for him as well, and wonders what compels others to die for him.
You see San step into the hallway. He's wearing that red and black armor. And he looks at you, looks at the weapon. And as if he's reading your mind, he says, "He died so you could escape. He died because he knew what you represent. You're the future of the Tekani, of the Kani, the future of the Jedi Order. You were born with everything that the Jedi always strive for. Not just the Force, but the temperance."
I think I understand. Humans are destructive.
The Jedi, which were not all humans, ultimately strived for a sense of balance within themselves, a state where their emotions did not control them, where they were at one with the Force. Harmony. You've said before, they seem to destroy everything that they come into contact with. But you, the Venko, you're different. What the Jedi strived and failed to find, you were born with.
Then we must ensure our survival.
There's a lot that I can teach you. And I believe there's even more that you could teach me.
He looks down at the weapon again, looks back up at you, and he says, "I am ready."
San nods.
That's it. We'll cut.